Man, oh man, this season just keeps getting better and better and better. Harrison Button back at it once again with a brand new video for you, and it's time for our round 7 of the 2012 season review as we headed to Montreal, Quebec, Canada, or whatever it is, something like that. But, yeah, we have our 7th different race winner in the first 7 races of this season. The first time this has ever happened in Formula 1 history, as Lewis Hamilton probably deservedly finally gets on the win board for this season. An epic race where once again the story of the day was tyre degradation. Funny that. Didn't I say that in my last video? You know. But as I was saying, the key story here was that Sebastian Vettel got off to an early lead on pole by about 2 seconds. Hamilton chased him down as the tyres were wearing in, and then Hamilton obviously had better use of his tyres, passed Vettel, and so did Fernando Alonso. So in the end it was Hamilton leading. He dominated the middle stage, but as it got to around 55 laps to go, Hamilton had his final pit stop, and then to a degree it was such an awkward time that it forced Alonso and Vettel to pretty much go the rest of the race on their harder compound soft tyres. In which case it would have been about 40 to 50 laps, I think it was, something like that, where they'd have to go without pitting. And as you can see near the end, Fernando Alonso completely fell off the cliff. Hamilton, who obviously was down by about 10 seconds, had to chase him down with his fresher tyres, obviously because he had lost out on track position because he had one extra stop. But he chased him down, passed Vettel, and Vettel gave up pretty much, and then went in the pits, to make sure that he didn't lose out on time after the tyres were obviously going to hit the cliff. He ended up in 4th. Alonso had to stay out, and in the end didn't stop, and everyone just roared past. Those guys who were on run-stop strategies really benefited from this one, as you can see. But as you can see, the main story of the race in this one was definitely tyre degradation, and Lewis Hamilton had the best of the tyres when he needed to, and just overall fantastic race pace. That comeback at the end of the last 15 laps was absolutely superb. It was taking a second a lap or more out of the top 2 every time round. And it was just great to see a battle between 3 world champions, probably the 3 best drivers in the world, 3 arguably of the best ever to ever take part in this sport, battling head to head, and that's what I thought was great, and that's what this sport needs. It needs more moments like that, no doubt about it. So that was a thrilling top 3 battle in the end, and even though it was kind of a topsy-turvy result in the end, Lewis Hamilton wins the Canadian Grand Prix in 2012. The rest of the grid, Romain Grosjean of Lotus with his best ever result in Formula 1 with a 2nd place finish. Again, he was on a one-stop strategy the whole way through, and he shot up the field at the end, obviously having the fresher tyres when he needed to. A great drive by the Frenchman, rather quiet, but again, it was just great strategy from the Lotus guys to put him up there in the end, and it all worked out for them quite nicely in the end. Another great drive from Sergio Perez. Remember him from Malaysia? he must have been savouring the moment he passed Fernando Alonso earlier in the race, taking revenge for what could have been in Malaysia, and when clearly Perez had the faster car but just lost out in the end. But Sergio Perez with another podium, his 2nd this season, in 3rd place. Another superb drive from the Mexican. Sebastian Vettel ended up, as I said, in P4, had the fastest lap of the race in the end, just to send a message to the rest of the field, really, more than anything else. But a solid drive from Sebastian, can't really complain. Red Bull, I just don't think, had that ultimate pace that the McLarens, well, one of the McLarens, had during this race. But still, I think Vettel will quite gladly take 4th place in the grand scheme of things, even if he's done what Hamilton has done most of the time this season, and that's lose positions. And to be fair to Vettel, that's only the 2nd time this season he's actually gone backwards from where he started on the grid this season. The only other time, I believe, was Shanghai, when he had the tyres fell off the cliff at the end. Funny that. Alonso in 5th after his tyres completely fell apart, and he was very lucky not to have been caught by Nico Rosberg, who came in 6th. He pumped out a ton of fastest laps during the race. Showed he definitely had some pace. Strategy-wise, it just didn't work out for him in the end at the start. I think he was a little bit too far back from the leading guys. But Rosberg showed some real form in this one to come in 6th. Mark Webber, very quiet drive. Webber was never really in it. Fell apart quite quickly and was never really had anything of note to say besides that in 7th. Kimi Räikkönen in 8th. Tyres didn't quite work out for him again in this one, but still a solid driving the Lotus man. Kamui Kobayashi gets both Saubers in the points with a 9th place finish. Another great drive from the Japanese man. And Felipe Massa in the points again in 10th, recovering after an early spin, put him from 5th, or was it, yeah, 5th, right away to the back of the grid pretty much, after spinning around turn 2. Other news to talk about during the race, another Michael Schumacher retirement. As I said on Twitter, it was this week in a series of unfortunate Schumachers. If you get the reference there, give yourself a pat on the back. This time his DRS wing was stuck open. Now, if anyone's ever driven Formula 1 2011 and you realise how floppy a car is with your DRS wing open, you'll know exactly what that must have been like for Schumacher to drive, i.e. a nightmare. So obviously that was the end of Schumacher's race, and that's his 5th retirement in 7 races so far this season. Horrible, horrible luck for Schumacher. You've got to feel sorry for him. It's just not working out for him at all this season. Almost tragic in a way. And one other thing I've got to point out here as well is that something is clearly missing from Formula 1, and that thing is Jenson Button's late 2011 form. Remember at the end of last season, he was pretty much the only guy who could give Sebastian Vettel a run for his money in those Red Bulls? Yeah, where's that gone? Jenson Button just pretty much had the weekend from hell. Malfunctions in practice. Qualifying was never really in it. Set an okay lap in the end, despite the fact he was on the harder of the 2 compound tyres. Ended up 16th in the race. Apparently Quinton just didn't have the front end grip to be competitive out there in this one, which again is really unfortunate, as you know, just Jenson Button, we all know how good he can be, and you know, at the end of the last season I was saying maybe he was better than many people give him credit for, in the same way that I said maybe Mark Webber isn't as good as people give him credit for. I may have to take that back now, because Jenson has just had a terrible couple of weeks, and he's fallen right off the wagon in this season right now. Even though what's funny is that last year he had probably his greatest ever race win in one of the best races ever last year. So I have to say a quick apologies for not making that Montreal race for 2011. It was actually my dad's birthday yesterday, and I just had no time at all to make that video I wanted to make. And you know, I wish I could have had the time to make it, but I just didn't, and I didn't want to rush it to ruin the quality. So apologies for that one. I promise I'll make it up to you. Quick look at the world title standings. Lewis Hamilton's win now makes him the world championship leader with 88 points. Fernando Alonso in 2nd with 86 points, and Sebastian Vettel just a point behind in 3rd with 85. Mark Webber in the other Red Bull on 79. So as you can see, the top 4 covered by just 9 points. That's the difference between 1st and 3rd in a race, and that's how close it is right now. I mean, this is a magical season of Formula 1 right now, and we have to love it. I love it right now, and I really appreciate what's going on. Because this is without question the most unpredictable season ever in the history of Formula 1, without doubt about it. So a quick question to pose to you viewers before I shut off on this video. Question for you guys: was that the drive of the season so far from Lewis Hamilton? What performance to you stands out so far this season? What's been the best single driver performance so far this season in any of the 7 races we've seen so far? I'd either nominate this one, possibly Hamilton's drive in Catalonia, or maybe even Sergio Perez's 2nd place in Malaysia. Probably all spring to mind, but I'm sure there's more you guys can come up with. So, what has been your drive of the season so far? And I hope you like this video. I want to get this to 100 likes because these are my most watched videos. So if you can, please, please, please like the video. I beg of you. It'll be awesome of you. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Harrison101. Please like, comment, favourite and subscribe if you like this and you want to see more. And I'll catch you next time. Sayonara.